toy spot, we are having a look at the Mattel DC Comics Total Heroes Bizarro. Bizarro representing some of the villains, at least making up this line. There's not many of them, granted. Bizarro is one of, I think there's only about 4 or 5 villains total in this release. Nice image, though, up at the top left corner there of Bizarro. It looks appearing to be more New 52 design of Bizarro. Although the figure, if you look at the figure itself, the figure looks more like a classic rendition of Bizarro. Spin around the back of the package. Real name Bizarro, classification Kryptonian, clone, relatives Superman, clonal source, special abilities reverse versions of Kryptonian powers, freeze vision, and fire breath. Look for more Total Heroes figures. There's Hal Jordan, Mr. Freeze, and Detective Batman, which features the Cape Crusader, featuring him in more classic blue and gray colors rather than the black and gray that we had a look at. Spot's going to take himself a break and get this opened up. When we come back, though, we're going to get a better look at the DC Comics Total Heroes Bizarro. It's more heading away, guys. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Accessory-wise, Bizarro comes with absolutely nothing. Not that he would necessarily need to come with anything, really. I mean, it is Bizarro, after all. The figure-wise, it's not quite a complete mirrored clone of Superman. In fact, let's reach off camera and bring in Superman. Other than the body being reused, which is really just a clone of all the other figures, there's really not much that's being reused from Superman to Bizarro, unless really you count the capes. But even then, the capes are different. You can see there's more of a slightly frayed or slightly shaped bottom cape versus Superman. Superman also has the inclusion of the emblem, which unfortunately is not on Bizarro. Other than that, though, there's not really anything that's a carryover. One interesting thing to note, though, is that the Superman, for example, and a lot of the figures that have high collars have armored areas featured on the neck. I don't know if you can see that or not. Bizarro, even though it looks like his head has been put over top of the body, and that may or may not be correct. I think it's just the way it's been painted, but it does look like it's more levitating. It does have that same sculpt on the back of his neck, which kind of looks a little jarring, especially with the white, because it does stand out a lot more. Added points can be given to Bizarro for just doing stuff differently. The Hawkman was just so disappointing. With all the things that he didn't do right, it's almost like Bizarro has fixed a lot of my feelings after that. One of the things I do like about Bizarro is he's one of the few figures that actually has sculpted hands. Let me rephrase that. Not sculpted in the sense that they've been sculpted. Obviously, every figure's been sculpted. But the hands are unique in that they are at least open rather than closed fists. Every figure has had, in some way or another, closed fists or one open hand. Bizarro, on the other hand, so to speak, does have open hands. So I like that. Let's have a look at his face. Let's bring the camera in. There's his face right there. The face is good as Bizarro, but equally could read as Solomon Grundy as well. Now, granted, you couldn't... Well, I guess they could have reused it, but they would have to do a lot of extra paint just to make Bizarro look different than Solomon Grundy. But this figure could have been a larger version using the same head sculpt and giving him Solomon Grundy as well. It, to me, reads more Solomon than it reads Bizarro. He's got this slightly panel-lined style of head. I don't know if you can see it or not, but he does have red pupils inside black eyeballs, kind of similar to Sinestro. He's also one of the only figures, too, much like Open Hands, he's one of the only few figures that actually has an expression with the open mouth showing off those yellow teeth. This could easily be one of my favorite figures from this line. And I haven't looked at Mr. Freeze yet, but because Mr. Freeze does a lot of different things to him as well. But I love Bizarro here. I love the purplish. It's kind of not quite purple. It's more of a pinkish purple. The dark blue is nice. The backwards S, always a nice touch. And he's got more classic of a utility belt or belt area rather than the New 52 design that Superman had. When it comes to your posability, Bizarro does have a ball joint in the head. Once again, a little limited. At least he's also got the additional sculpt on the back of the hair. I like that. But a little limited on the back, up and down motion. He seems to, however, have it a little bit better than some of the other figures that we had to look at. Hinged shoulders, which allow full rotation on the arms. A bend at the elbow. A rotation on the forearm. A rotation on the hand. Rotation on the waist. There we go. Split legs. Forward back motion. Bend at the knee. Hinged feet. Sure, of course, you could have given Bizarro something. It seems always like the tried and true go-to for Bizarro is like some sort of bent beam. They always want to give Bizarro a bent beam. But despite the fact he doesn't come with any sort of accessories, I like this figure quite a lot. One thing I didn't mention, though, was the elevated neck area. Let's touch base on that just before we wrap up this video. I guess one little strike I could make about Bizarro is even though he is using almost what looks to be the same similar sculpt, and again, like, why would they incorporate this on the back of him when he's clearly an extra piece that they've added over top? Because he's an extra piece, though, you can kind of see where there's a gap where the cape has been clearly put underneath and then the head has been put on top. So that's one little strike I can make for an overall fantastic figure. If you're not going to get many of these figures and you only want to get a few, honestly, I would say the Bizarro is quite good. The coloring is nice. It's a nice departure, utilizing the same body, but it's just simply a case of adding new hands and expression to the face. You get a really fun-looking figure. Today's Toy Spot, we were continuing our looks at the Total Heroes line from Mattel, and today we're having a look at Reverse Superman, also known as Bizarro. Stay tuned, guys. Spot's going to have more videos heading your way. As always, thanks for watching. See you next time.